Hi, everybody. Welcome back to First Coffee, Susie Oberholtz. I'm kind of seeing if anybody's going to come in. I kind of didn't get my live set until, fairly late this afternoon, so people might have to catch us on the replay. Plus, I never know who all else is going live. It seems like every time that I schedule one, there's somebody already going, or they do it right after I set it. So, anyway, what a pain in the butt, right? Oh, my legs itching. Oh, goodness. So anyway, I'm here feeling good. Tomorrow I'm a little nervous about. Both Mark and I go to the oncologist. So that's a little nerve-wracking. Hey, Hef, good to see you. Always good to see you. And I do want to set that up with you in Maryland pretty soon. Evie, good to see you too. Julie or Julia, good to see you. Everybody's kind of coming in a little bit now. This is going to be kind of a long one. So while I'm kind of setting it up, you might want to run and get you a drink. Or maybe a snack, because it's probably going to be at least be an hour, maybe a little over. And when Mischief gets here, Lord help her, I've warned her that this one's going to be kind of long, but I couldn't figure out a good stopping place to do an actual third part of this, um the cult next door that we started the other day, with talking about the one that's actually in Savannah, my happy place, which is not making me happy. But anyway, today we're going to talk more about the actual cult. These people in Savannah are they are cult members, but they're ruled by a bigger deal. They're like a sect of the cult. There's a big cult, and then there's all these little dangly things, little churches that they plant all over the place, and they support them. Any money they make goes towards keeping them. Hey, Marilee. uh, but anyway, any money they make goes towards, you know, their survival, basically paying their bills and everything. But anything left over goes back to the cult and is used whenever they need to purchase more homes, more businesses, more whatever. So yeah, it's kind of a big old deal. So Marilee, I'm glad you figured out your headphones. Kind of like me the other day. I've never figured out why that set of earbud buds, about said bugs, earbuds would not work with this computer. It has worked before, and they work perfectly with my iPhone and my iPad, and I don't know what is going on with them. So I did switch to another set, so if I go to add somebody sometime, hopefully hopefully I can hear them. So ladies, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we'll just see who all pops in as we go. And if not, they can watch on the replay. I think it is well worth watching. I hope I do it any kind of justice. Um, it's pretty bad. And again, we were talking about the 12 tribes cult. So in case anybody didn't catch the first one, that's what we're talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So hello, everyone. Welcome back. And this is part 2 of the cult next door. I'm going to rush right in and get started with it, and then I'll check back in with the chat after a while. It is just full of crazy information, and Mischief, when she gets in here, she might ban me from my channel if I do very many of these long ones, because she gets really worried about me. But Mischief, I've already got a big old pot of chili ready in a crock pot in the kitchen, so I don't even have to fix dinner. So if this one goes a little long, we're still good. Hey, Brian, good to see you too. I'm glad everybody's here, and anybody else that pops in, I hope I don't miss you. If I do, it's literally that I just missed you. I would never, ever, ever ignore you, ever. So let's get going, y'all. So as promised, we're going to study more into the 12 tribes, y'all. And if you missed part 1, you can go ahead and watch this one and then go back and watch part 1. They're kind of interchangeable. You don't have to do one and then the other. It really, either one is fine. So anyway, you can watch the other part later. The 12 tribes, y'all, is a movement that is either a cult, or it's classified, y'all, as either a cult or a new religious movement, depending on who you talk to or what articles you read, right? Today, I want to start with their origin and move forward from there. So we're going to kind of go back in time a little bit. And I tried to keep this fairly chronological, but you know how I am. I get a little sidetracked, hence all the note cards, right? So bear with me. I'm going to really, really, really try. Eileen, I don't know if I told you hi already, but thank you for being here and thank you for being a member. It's always good to see when you pop in. You're becoming quite the regular in the last several weeks. Yeah, and I love it. Anyway, the 12 Tribes was formerly known as the Vine Christian Community Church, the Northeast Kingdom Community Church, the Messianic Communities, and the Community Apostolic Order. They've had several names, but then they did change to the 12 Tribes, which is a whole lot easier, right? A lot easier and faster to say. Is my stuff in your way? I'm terribly sorry, Reese. Let me move my mail that I haven't put up yet. I got a new toy I'm going to play with. It's a deal to make beach waves on my hair. So anyway, I got to quit that. Anyway, this cult was founded by Gene Spriggs and came out of the Jesus movement in 1972 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So they've been around a while, but not quite as long as like Scientology. So they are new compared to Scientology, I guess. In the late 70s, the group started planting churches in surrounding areas. Their relationship with the Chattanooga community kind of deteriorated, as tends to happen. So they moved primarily to Vermont. And y'all, I'm going to tell you right now, Marilyn Honig of Coffee Cults and Crafts did a video about them that you might also find very interesting. She always does such a good job, and she lives right there. So, that helps too. She may know a little more, intimate things than I know. And I watched some of it, and I'm going to go back and finish it. I honestly just couldn't take it anymore. I get so wrapped up in it that I just get so mad. But anyway, among the controversies about them are their strict courtship rules, views on child rearing, their use of unpaid community labor, and child labor. They have also been seen as racist, misogynistic, and homophobic. Excessive corporal punishment seems to be a problem, and the failure to stop child abuse. They just refuse. They don't see it as abuse. So anyway, the move to Vermont and the initial financial hardship led to some members leaving the church, but they are really, really good at recruiting new members. And so, and it's hard to leave. It's just like any other cult. They make it extremely hard, extremely. The Citizens Freedom Foundation held several meetings attempting to draw attention to this group. They had made allegations of mind control in Chattanooga, but added accusations of child abuse as it went on. It really started getting interest after their move to Vermont. People in Vermont weren't near as eager to put up with their crap, y'all, which the people in Chattanooga didn't either. But Eddie Wiseman, an elder of the group, was charged with simple assault in 1983. That and multiple child custody cases formed the basis for a search warrant, okay? In June 1984, Vermont State Police, and the Vermont Social Rehabilitation Services seized 112 kids. Apparently, 40 cases were dismissed almost immediately as the parents refused to give the names of their children. I'm sorry, but I don't think that's reason for dismissing a child abuse case. I just don't. Do a DNA test if you have to. Figure out who's who. You can have Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2, Jane Doe 112, whatever. I don't care. Don't just dismiss it. The group thought that the whole thing was a huge misunderstanding, so they really worked to form relationships with their neighbors. The case against Wiseman fell apart because the witness recanted their story. saying they'd been under duress by the anti-cult movement. Sure they had. I bet they were under duress by the cult. In 1985, the case was dropped after a judge said Wiseman had been denied a speedy trial. I know that's one of our rights, but then, y'all, we just keep adding. Eddie Wiseman's public defender, Gene Swatko, who'd been present at the raid, joined the 12 tribes and married this Eddie Wiseman. By 1989, the church, having wisely made friends on the island pond, currently had grown substantially and was widely accepted. So they went in Vermont at this island pond, and they made a bunch of friends. They really worked hard to make friends. They didn't do like Scientology and hide from everybody and ignore you and act like that you had the plague, right? They went in and they made friends, and guess what that did? It brought a lot more people into their church. They might be a little bit smarter than Scientology, y'all. In the 1980s and 90s, what was that about? In the 1980s and 90s, they opened branches in several different countries, including the Czech Republic, Canada, Australia, Brazil, Spain, Germany, Argentina, and the United Kingdom, plus more in the US, but they really branched out. And that all has to do with their whole name of the 12 tribes, because they want to be in certain locations and everything. So anyway, in the mid 2000s, the group was still facing a lot of controversy, mainly with allegations of child abuse, custodial interference, illegal homeschooling, and child labor. You notice how much of that all has to do with kids? Yeah, and if you left the church, they wouldn't let you take your kids with you, and then whenever you went and tried to sue for custody or even visitation, they would interfere with it, and they would hide those kids and the other, ex-spouse or whatever, and keep them from, being able to find them and to get visitation, much less custody or anything. So in 2006, the group announced a new community in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And in 2008, they opened a new yellow deli nearly 30 years after having left Chattanooga, being pretty much chased out of Chattanooga. In 2021, Eugene Spriggs died while visiting his property in Hiddenite, North Carolina. Apparently, the leader doesn't have to give up all of his property like all of the just normal members do, because that's the first thing you have to do when you join, is give up everything to the church. If you own property, if you have money, whatever you have, if they want it, need it, whatever, they get it. And you are just, happy to hand it over. Anyway, Spriggs had renamed himself Yonek, or which means the appointed one. And it was a Hebrew name. That's another thing, is when they join, they all have to give up their given name and they go by a Hebrew name while with the group. Now, a lot of them, when they're out and about with the community and everything, they use their given name because they don't want to look weird. As if that's the only thing going to make them look weird, The 12 tribes belief does resemble Christian fundamentalism and the Hebrew roots movement, Messianic Judaism, and the sacred name movement. Oh, I see mischief is on the job. Oh, goodness. Anyway, But y'all, they believe that all other denominations of any kind, literally any other denomination, are fallen and thus refuses to align themselves with any denomination or movement. So they think they're the only ones that got it right, just like every other cult. The first thing you do, y'all, if you go somewhere, you're around a group of people and they tell you that they've got the answer, that they're the ones that know what's really going on, run like hell. Because I guarantee you, if they say that, they're a cult. Ugh. Based on just on the group's practices, you know, scholars describe them as a cult. They say there is no doubt they're a cult. So they believe for the Messiah to return, the church needs to be restored to the original form as described in Acts 2:38 through 42 and Acts 4:32 through 37. The restoration isn't just the restoration of the first church, but the creation of a new Israel, which should consist of 12 tribes located in 12 geographical regions. The group believes the end times has arrived, but no date has been set for that to happen yet, for the actual end, Armageddon kind of deal. Y'all, at this point, I am making a decision to not go into all the cult's actual religious beliefs because they are just a lot of just the Christian mixed in with some Judaism, and I would need another probably 2 hours to describe that. So you can look that up if you want to. Hey, Cricket, DOA, Cricket Cinema, DOA is a fraud. I should add that part because it's, not DOA. Good to see you guys too. Anyway, I'm just not going to do it. I don't think that I want this to get weighed down by all the biblical references and all that. And I don't think that y'all really care. I think you want to know, what is this cult doing? What are they doing that's making them a cult? It's not their beliefs that make them a cult. You can have any beliefs you want. What makes you a cult is what you do, right? So anyway, I did mention some scriptures. So of course, if you want to go back and read those scriptures, or some of you probably know them. And yeah. Oh, I have to check in with Mischief in a little bit. But anyway, so, if you want me to cover the religious end of it, let me know and I'll go back and do another one with that in it. Anyway, their leadership is structured as a series of councils consisting of local, regional, and global councils. The group is also overseen by a fluid number of teachers, deacons, deaconesses, elders, and apostles. Gene Spriggs is highly regarded as the first person to open up his home to brothers and sisters, but members say that he was not regarded as a spiritual figurehead. Wonder if he knew that, y'all. I'm going to bet he didn't. I'm going to bet it's a bunch of crap. What do you think? Every picture that you see of him of the group up until he died has got him in it. And he's standing in front of everybody. In the previous video, I did misspeak about something, saying that they are tax exempt. That's not completely true. They actually operate as a 501(d) for-profit organization with a religious purpose and a common treasury, which means that all their money goes into one place. They do pay property taxes, but the 501(d) keeps them from having to, spitting, sorry. Got a little drink and now I'm going to be, it keeps them from having to pay income tax liability. So they are partially, but not quite as much. And I did read something that said that they were, but then whenever I really dug into it, everything was saying that it's this. So Anyway, I had to correct a couple of things as I was doing research that, one of the people would say, and then somebody else would come back, and somebody else, and several people would agree that it was something different. And so I would generally go with the consensus of what the majority of the experts said, not just what one person said. So that's kind of how I did that. Okay. I do want to touch on some of how they function on a daily basis because I think that can be very important and very telling on whether it's a cult or not. So, courtship within the community involves a waiting period, quote unquote, waiting period, in which a man or a woman expresses their desire to get to know the other person. Okay. The couple then receives input from the community to find out if they are suited for one another. Okay, so you don't get to decide if you're suited for one another. The community gets to decide if you're suited for one another. And when this is going on, you're able to spend a little bit of time together, very limited time together, and never alone. Okay. The couple becomes betrothed or engaged if their parents, this is what got me, pay attention, their parents or the entire congregation, if they are adults, confirm their love and their compatibility. The couple is then allowed to hold hands. But what got me, I got tickled over that they're now allowed to hold hands. But what got me was that their parents allow them to be betrothed, or the congregation if they're adults. Oh, I got something in my eye. So that right there is telling me that there are minors getting married in this cult. Then the weddings, y'all, are dramatized reenactments of what the group believes will happen at the end time when Joshua, which is Jesus, returns to earth to claim his bride. Sounds romantic. I did see a wedding and she got to wear a white dress and a little veil. I think they might have all been barefoot, but everybody wants to do a reenactment of the end times, right? For their wedding. I mean, I don't know. Children do play a central role in the group's beliefs, especially the sons. Shocking. The cult believes that it's the parents' responsibility to properly enforce a consequence for sin, okay? Which is wrongful action. When you're talking about a child, there's a lot of sin, but when you're talking about a child, they are talking about wrongful actions, words, or behaviors. They do this so that the child maintains a state of clear conscience. Kind of sounds like COS is clear to me. They believe over the time the children's children, will be better equipped to deal with or overcome the faults of their predecessors. So, and this will enable future generations to be in the 144,000 of Revelations 7. By the way, let's not forget, families live communally. And the children, though living with their parents, are under the authority of the group and can be punished by anyone at any time. And all of this that we're talking about starts at age 6 months. And it does include corporal punishment with the use of a reed-like rod that former members say some former members say that punishment includes severe beatings to the point of bleeding or collapse, and were often repeated daily. I am very interested, Cricket. So if you can, email me and let me know, we can maybe get together and talk. In the first video, I questioned how a small group of 14 families could afford to buy multiple properties in the historic edition or district of Savannah, Georgia. Well, as suspected, they don't actually own the properties. The mother church does. And they didn't say mother church, but I couldn't find what they actually called it. So all property is legally owned by the 12 tribes, not whatever name any individual congregation calls itself. They support themselves through numerous businesses, which are in many locations. Members do not work outside of the group. This was interesting too. The 12 tribe owned businesses I found include Parchment Press, a printing company offering printing services to you, me, and anybody that wants it, and also printing and selling the group's literature. No wonder the flyers for their little tiny businesses are so professional and just absolutely gorgeous. They have a company that does it, right? BOJ Construction, general contractor based in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and operating nationally using unpaid and child labor. Commonwealth Construction, operating primarily in the southeastern USA. This company is in Savannah and the one that did the work for Paula Deen. Greener Formulas, a soap and body care research and development firm with ties to its other businesses, including Common Sense Farm. Number 5, Mate Factor, a yerba mate import company that also runs 2 cafes in Monteto Springs, Colorado, and Savannah, Georgia. Number 6, Tribal Trading, an organic foods distribution company based in Iran, Spain. Sorry. 7, a farm in Kansas. Could not find a name for that. Number 8, a construction company in Colorado. Also could not find a name for that. Okay. The cult also runs restaurant chains, the Yellow Deli and Common Ground Coffee. So there's multiples of those. Last but certainly not least, let's touch on some of the controversies that plagued the cult. Okay. Bob Pardon, the executive director of Christian Countercult Movement in New England, or at the New England Institute of Religious Research, has done extensive research into the 12 tribes, y'all. He was initially even given access to them in order to do some of the investigation, but after a while they were like, nah, I don't think so, not anymore. So he released his findings in a report stating Messianic communities under the leadership of Spriggs, even though they say no, has tendencies toward an extreme authoritarianism and a Galatian, Galatian, I don't know, heresy. Sorry, I can't pronounce anything today. Man, my nose is itching too. Galatian, I don't know. Anyway, in France, the group was listed as a cult by the 1995 governmental report, Parliamentary Commission on Cults, under the name Ordre Apostolique. Okay. Therapeutic healing environment. The 12 tribe members, Jean Swantko, remember her? The public defender that married the other guy? Her husband, who is now going by Ed Wiseman, have made efforts to combat social stigma and the anti-cult movement by engaging in dialogue with the media and government. It sounds a lot like what's happening in Savannah. They've been very open, really, with the media, very like friendly. Let's just say friendly, not so much open. But they've been very friendly with the media and um, the government officials there in town, or authorities. Swinco also represents the group in legal matters and has presented at conferences including the Communal Studies Association, Society for the Scientific Study of Religion, as well as a chapter in James T. Richardson's Regulating Religion. I'm going to give up, y'all. Case studies from around the globe. Now, in their defense, okay, the 12 tribes have been cited by Stuart A. Wright as a group suffering from front end, back end disproportionality in media coverage. Wright claims the media tends to cover charges against the group extensively, but that when they get cleared of them or the charges are dropped, oh gosh, mischief, sit, girl. I'll talk to you after this is over. It's actually not too far from over. I'm doing pretty good. But anyway, they're saying that the media doesn't give it the same attention whenever they're proven innocent, or the chart not proven innocent, but they're found not guilty. There's a difference. Or the charges are dropped. So that's what that is. That's what front end, back end is. And they say that that leaves the impression that they're guilty of whatever they were charged with, and that sometimes that's not the case. Next, the Island Pond Raid. On June 22nd, 1984, police arrested at the Island Pond residences of members taking they arrived, taking 112 children into protective custody based on an investigation of accusations of child abuse. All cases were eventually dropped when a judge found the search warrant unconstitutional. Frank Mahady, the judge in the case, called the action a grossly unlawful scheme, while Judge Walchick, who had signed the original search warrant, said that he was given false information or unreliable information. What he was given was a witness that recanted his testimony. That's what he was given. That's who they need to take into protective custody, is any witnesses. Because once the cults find out, they always recant their statements, right? Always. Not always, but you know what I mean. A lot. The Vermont chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union criticized the raid, calling it frightening and the greatest deprivation of civil liberties in recent Vermont history. Then Governor Richard Snelling drew the hottest fire politically, y'all, of his career, basically, in the weeks after the raid. And Attorney General John J. Easton Jr. claimed that the raid was to assist Snelling in his campaign for re-election. Of course, Snelling denied that, but, once it's said, people either going to believe it or not. In 1992, John Burchard, former state commissioner of Social and Rehabilitation Services, and Vanessa L. Malcarney published an article in Behavioral Science that the law encouraging charges in the law that had, anyway, they were talking against the law that was in effect, that made it possible for these charges to even have been brought and for the raid to have happened. As for the 12 tribes, they held anniversary events in 1994 and in 2000 and produced a 75-minute documentary celebrating their success. Doesn't that sound like something that Scientology would do? Yeah, freaking loopholes. It's just freaking loopholes. Okay, teachings about the Jews. This is another controversy we're still on. The group teaches that the Jews are collectively responsible for the death of Christ, quoting Matthew 27:25. They are often labeled anti Semitic. They, of course, deny that accusation. the The group does, though, keep the Sabbath and they observe several Jewish festivals and stuff. The youth hold bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs and celebrations, and in celebrations, they perform Israeli folk songs and dances. So I don't know. But former members say that they are very anti Semitic. So I'm just putting it out there. In 2001, the New York Post ran an article accusing the 12 tribes of child labor violations. They responded with a press conference at the Common Sense Farm where they alleged that child labor had occurred. Okay. The cult said during a random inspection by Estee Lauder Company, the company discovered several 14-year-old boys assisting their fathers in the factory. So yeah, we got some child labor, but they're just assisting. They're just helping out with their dads. Sure they are. Sure they are. 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. The report was confirmed by Estee Lauder and Estee Lauder terminated their contract with Common Sense Products. The group's official statement was that as a family-owned business, or it is a family-owned business, so these kids should be able to help out their family members and not have to apologize for that. Sure, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. When are they going to school? 14 and 15-year-olds. My 14 and 15-year-olds were still in school. My 16-year-old grandsons are still in school. I mean, it's homeschool, but they're still in school. But the New York State Department of Labor stated that they intended to randomly visit all 5 of the 12 tribes businesses in the state. State Attorney General Elliot Spitzer said that the apprenticeships accounted to indentured servitude and were illegal. Amen. Finally. Not that anything was done, but, at least somebody said it. Robert Redford's Sundance Catalog, who had contracted with Commonwealth Woodworks, another of the group's industries, who made furniture, terminated their contract in response to the allegations. So far, I'm like, yay, Robert Redford's Sundance, and, yay, Estee Lauder. I'm going to have to go look at some Estee Lauder makeup, y'all. The Labor Department found no violations at Common Sense Farm or Commonwealth Woodworks, but did propose a time or two but did impose, I'm sorry, God, I can't read my own writing and I can't talk when I can't. They imposed a fine on 2 other of their industries, $2,000 each for allegations of child labor violations. But I mean, it's something, right? Ugh. Group spokesperson Gene Swantko Wiseman, remember the lawyer for the other dude, was quoted by a news article saying the fines were for a 15-year-old boy pushing a wheelbarrow and another 15-year-old changing a light bulb. Sure they were, lady. Sure they were. And that might have been what was going on at the exact moment that they walked in. But what about the other several hours, several days that this goes on? I don't think he pushed a wheelbarrow or changed a light bulb and then said, I'm gonna go on home, y'all. Maybe I'll go play Xbox. Or maybe I'll hop over here and do my homework because I haven't been to school all day. Don't think so. I'm not that stupid. In June of 2018, another New York State investigation into Common Sense Farms. New York is not having it, y'all. Launched another investigation was launched, yielding allegations of child labor after an Inside Edition hidden camera revealed children working in the group's soap factory. So, even though they swore that it wasn't happening, good old Inside Edition, which I don't like, but heaven bless them for getting a hidden camera in there somehow and catching them red-handed. It didn't say if anything was done about it. The Colt-owned greener formulas had been contracted with brands including Acure and Savannah Bee to manufacture their private label body products. Y'all, Savannah Bee, I'm these other names I don't know of, but when it comes to Savannah, I'm going to know these things. So anyway, Savannah Bee is a company that uses honey, local honey. I was under the impression, and it makes several beauty care products. I mean, lotions and potions, and lip balms, and you name it. They make a lot of stuff, and I've even had some in the past. And I thought that it was manufactured somewhere in Georgia. I sure didn't think it was manufactured in New York by a cult. But of course, the cult's also in Georgia. So even if they manufactured in Georgia, maybe they would have the cult doing it there too. Anyway, but here is the good news. They both actually also terminated their contracts. But I'm going to write a deal to Savannah Bee and tell them that had I known this in the past, I would not have bought anything. But now that they have terminated the contracts, I will be coming back. Maybe. I'm a little frustrated. So, in Germany and France, the controversies centered on the issues of homeschooling, health, childcare, and religious freedom. Homeschooling is illegal in Germany except in very rare circumstances. So that alone was going to be an issue. When fines and arrests didn't seem to do any good, the German government actually gave them permission to open a homeschool on their property. I'm like, I was really proud of you, Germany, but then I'm like, what the hell? No. But I mean, I guess, I don't know. That was in 2011, sorry. The agreement entailed that they would not teach sex education or evolution. Authorities revoked the school's right to operate in 2013, so only lasted about 2 years, year and a half actually, when they refused to answer to allegations of child abuse and the lack of certified teachers. Views on slavery. According to a report by the Southern Poverty Law Center in 2018, the 12 tribes teaches its followers the curse of Ham as a racial curse made Ham a servant of his brother Shem. The teaching is used to justify slavery. They teach that slavery was and I'm going to quote them here, marvelous opportunity that blacks could be brought here to be slaves so that they could be found worthy of the nations. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it. Cricket, I'm glad that you're proud French Canadian. I would be too, girl. I would be too. I've got friends that are French Canadian and they are amazing people. Nevertheless, there are black members of the 12 tribes, which teaches that slavery is over for those who believe. So, I mean, I guess they're like, well, yeah, I'm black, but it's over for me because I believe this bullshit they're feeding me. I shouldn't even say that, but that's how I feel. I'm like, what the hell? It's just like Scientology, y'all. They can make you believe anything they want to, and even if it's against yourself, even if it is in your own worst interest, they seem to be able to make people believe it. Yeah, Southern Property Law Center concludes that since the 12 tribes view only themselves as the true believers, this does not apply to any black person outside of the group. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean. It's confusing to me. So, other issues. September 5th, 2013, German police raided 2 communities belonging to 12 tribes and removed 40 children due to continued abuse. Undercover reporting prompted the raid, secretly recording how the sect beat their children. The group admits that they use a reed-like rod for discipline, but denies abusing their children. That is abuse. I don't care. I don't care. If you, the one that they showed was, like how you have the little metal thing that you can poke the fire in your fireplace. They're using something like that on kids starting at 6 months old. I'm just, it, they make me sick. They might make me more sick than Scientology. I don't know. It just all makes me sick. In 2018, the European Court of Human Rights upheld the decision to take the children away. 40 children got saved, y'all. 40 children. Side note, the parents believed, and this was in the legal deals, the parents believed, based upon their religion, they had the obligation to cane their children under the age of 12 whenever they were disobedient. So from 6 months to 12. 6 months to 12. I can't even, I can't fathom it. I have an 11-year-old granddaughter that, no, I take that back. She's 13 now. I don't know why I said 11. Anyway, I have a 13-year-old. So she's like right just a year. I can't imagine a year and a half ago, that she would have been getting beat with a rod if she misbehaved. First of all, she very rarely ever misbehaves. But according to them, a blink of an eye might be a misbehave, On June 26, 2018, the Vice HD channel in the US, on an episode of Cults and Extreme Beliefs, on Sammy Brasheau, a former member, they did a episode, on Sammy Brasheau, a former member accused the cult of abusive practices. So I'd like to try to figure out how to see that. I haven't yet. Yeah, what do they do to them at 13? Probably don't. They marry them off if they're compatible. And it didn't say that it was what's the age difference in these people that they're marrying off? In July 2019, the US FBI released a 40-page summary of the closed preliminary investigation stemming from allegations of child abuse at the group's Heidenite, North Carolina property. That's where the founder, he owned that property and he later died. So I guess when he died, it went to the church. The documents revealed the existence of other investigations over the years of child abuse in other compounds. And there had also been deaths alleged to be mysterious, suspicious. On February 19th, 2020, police in New South Wales, Australia, executed a search warrant at the Peppercorn Creek Farms property, seizing documents and other evidence into allegations of child abuse. Police returned just a few days later for a more extensive search for stillborn babies buried on the property at the Peppercorn property and another property. On March 7th, an updated report said that at least one baby's body had been found. But no, we've not found any formal closure of the case or have any charges been filed that I could find. Doesn't mean they don't exist. It's just that that's Australia, and we don't necessarily always get other countries' stuff as quick. Oh. In December 2021, a fire broke out in Boulder County, Colorado. The sheriff's also, I think this one's stupid, but I went ahead and added it because they added it into a controversy. The sheriff's office issued its investigation summary concluding that the fire originated from two locations. One, I don't know, but they didn't say what the second one was, but one being a slash burn intentionally started on the 12 tribes' property 6 days prior to the getting out of hand, anyway. The slash fire was visited by local firefighters after a community leader, or a community member, noted the size of the fire. However, the 12 tribes cult was unconcerned, and a resident told detectives that he allowed it to burn to coals and covered it with dirt. But no, he didn't use water to extinguish it, just dirt, which that's what we do here too, most of the time. No charges were filed because the slash burning isn't illegal in Boulder County. So I'm not really sure why they added that to the list. But I wanted to note it because you just never know when something might come up later that explains it, And that might be part of the backstory on something down the road. That was a lot of information, y'all. It didn't go quite as long as I was afraid it would, so maybe Mischief isn't too mad at me. But I wonder if y'all agree with me that it sounds a lot like Scientology as far as how the law and the government, especially here in the US, they just tend to go easy on them. It's like they can't catch them in anything or they just give up. And I swear it's driving me crazy trying to figure out why they let child abusing cults continue to get away with it. I don't know what it's going to take, y'all. And I'm really interested in finding out what your thoughts on the whole subject are. So if you have any comments, please put them in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, please add them to the replay. I would like to have a conversation about this. I'm trying to find where I let up. Whoops, that's not what I was trying to do. Sorry. Okay, whoops. I'm almost there, I promise, I think. Okay, yeah, here we go. So let's try to pick up where I was right there. Brian Lucas came in. Good to see everybody. Eileen, good to see you. Yeah, Brian, sounds like just about every other hokey cult out there. They do. They all sound so much alike that it's kind of creepy. Yeah, sounds like they use the same playbook as Scientology. I agree, Marilee. Yeah, they went native. Did that bother you too? With the one business? It sounded to me like they were trying to make it sound like they were Native Americans. Which, I don't know. Barely says if someone tried to keep my kids from me, I would have gone full on John Wick. Absolutely. I guarantee you, if I lived in a cult with my husband and I was leaving, my kids would come with me, even if he ceased to breathe. and anybody else that got in my way. I guarantee it. I'm just not a good person when it comes to that. When it comes to my kids, mm-mm. Good to see DOA as a fraud. Ugh, inappropriate heifer. My cousin changed her last name to her cult leader's name. She said Carol Brown is her mother and has completely disowned everyone in our family, including her own mother. This, oh my gosh. We really do need to talk. Please, let's set something up. I'd like to set something up with you, Hef, and then we can also get together with you and Marilyn and talk about how things kind of went, where they stand now. I mean, a lot of things. Talk about a lot of things, but oh my goodness. Yes, we are very sorry to hear that, aren't we, Brian? That is, oh, Cricket Cinema. Which cult are we learning about? It is the 12 tribes. Okay, what did I miss? Somebody tell me. Oh, because she fell. Okay, mischief managed, fell. And she got on to me because I fell twice in Savannah. Well, no, once in Savannah, once in Tulsa when we landed in the airport, right outside the gate. It was very friendly. The people were very friendly, sitting there staring at me while I'm laying on the floor, crying and laughing at the same time, till the big giant man came and picked me up. Anyway, yeah, I hope it's not too bad, Mischief. And your husband comes home tomorrow, right? I'm gonna send you some bubble wrap. You keep saying you're gonna send it to me. I've got a big old roll. I'll send you some. Yeah, it's all nuts, Brian. Yeah, Marilee says she doesn't know any scriptures. I don't know them outright, but they're real easy. You can look them up online if you just want to look into what they believe. But it just, they twist them to begin with. They say that they go by these scriptures, but then they twist them. So it's like, how do we know what they really believe? Because Cricket says a cult lived on an island in my hometown in the early 20th century, moved to LA after a real estate swindle. I definitely want to hear about it. The mission of the Holy Spirit. I'll have to look that up. The mission of the Holy Spirit. I can't forget. You might text or email me or something that one, or put it in the comments after the deal because I'll forget it. Yeah, I've never heard of that one either. Yeah. Yes, please do get me the name of that book, Cricket. I would love to get that too. Yeah, like maybe it's an action play, like the reenactment my church did. Cringy. Ooh. Ugh. I mean, I know that we do things like, at Christmas we do the whole deal with Christ's birth and everything. Oh gosh. Speaking of which, off subject for a second. The other day when I asked Veta the questions, and one of the questions was where babies come from, and she got flustered. Okay. It's because she knows exactly where they come from. Okay. She knows about um, periods and where babies exit the womb. So she was like, "Oh God, should I mention that?" But so that's why I got snapped at, saying that 7 was too young for a child to be worrying about where babies came from or how they were made. And I'm like, well, that's not for you to decide. You don't know this 7-year-old. You don't know the situation. You don't know anything. I mean, live your life. It's not like she goes around thinking about babies coming out of places. She knows something, she just knows a fact. Megan has done a good job with teaching all of the kids, all of that. And we live on a farm. So they they get a pretty good idea of what's what. So anyway, we'd look stupid if we like tried to ignore what they see or hear or whatever and lie to them. So we don't. We tell them the truth. Falling from a pink cloud. Okay. Falling from a pink. I should be able to remember that, right? It's got a pink in it. Yes, please do tell me anything you can tell me. Oh, on the Westport, Massachusetts, Westport Historical Society. Good. I'll look there too. And a cafe bakery in Chilliwack, British Canadian, Canada. I'll yeah. Anything y'all can give me. Yes, please remember that like button, and if you have not already, please subscribe. Go Veta go. Yeah, like and subscribe. I was copying Veta. Okay, good. Cricket sent a bunch of links with her contact info. Thank you. They were known holy, it's holy rollers. Yeah. Bonjour, Cricket. uh, Marilee says, Cricket, my dad's first language was French. He was from Newfoundland. I'm on the West Coast. I just think that that is so cool. My first and only language is English, and I don't get that one right all the time. So, yeah, I would like to know at what ages they get married. They did not say, but the fact that they said that their parents okay it unless they're adults and then the church has to do it, the community has to do it, that tells me that there are minors. The fact that they stop beating them at 12 makes me wonder if because they're ready for marriage at 13. And I don't know. It just, geez, what the hell? Aw, hi guys. Way late. Had a problem with with my 99-year-old parents. Oh, I hope that everything's okay. I really do. Bless their hearts. That's a long time to live, isn't it? Yeah. How was anniversary dinner, and how did the cameo thing go? I bet that went well. You think we forget, but we don't. Oh, they're both failing fast mentally. It is hard to watch, isn't it, Marilee? But you know what? We are never going to be ready for that. We're never going to be ready for them passing. I am still an absolute complete basket case over my mom's passing, and that was nearly 3 years ago. But at 99, wow, what a life they had to have led. It's amazing. And they still have some time. Talk to them. Write down everything you can remember. Anything they can remember. I know you probably have. You're very like big into stuff, but I'm not trying to be bossy or talk down to you, but I'm just saying, wow, 99. And for both, that it's phenomenal. Oh, it might be Tuesday or Wednesday till he comes home. Aw. Yeah. Merrily, between Mischief, Susie, and Merrily, we all do need a crap load of bubble wrap. I still have bruises, and I still can't put any pressure on my left knee. Yeah, Merrily says, "I knew at 6." I probably did too. Yeah, farm kids learn all that stuff early. Absolutely. British Canada. California, okay. Oh, Cricket is a boy. Not that I'm picky. Okay. I just tend to I don't know why. I tend to think everybody's a girl unless it says Bob or Joel or, Mark or Gary or something. I don't know. I'm sorry all this time. I will try to remember that you are a male. Oh, his wife loved the cameo. She was surprised. I can't imagine. You'll have to give us a picture. Oh, Mischief's dad made it to 94. My dad is I don't remember how old my dad is. Hey, Mark. Mark, do you remember how old my dad is? He's born in 48. So, yeah, I think so. He's born in 48. Everybody thought I was a lady. I don't know why, but it's fine. I'm sorry. I'm glad you told me though. I'm gonna add you over to the the burly man group of my chats along with my hairy godfather, right? I really love seeing you here though, and I really love seeing the men come in too, because sometimes we don't get that. Ah, Hef's dad was born in 48. Well, of course, because he's the same guy. No, I'm just kidding. We're sisters, remember? Anyway, was his name Larry? Because my dad's name's Larry. Well, y'all, he is my stepdad, technically, but I was 3. So my real dad, biological, and I loved him. I hate that biological term because then it makes it sound like, oh, my biological dad. But no, my biological dad was born, I think, in 44, something like that. That is wild. Hip's dad's name is Larry, too. Oh my God. I was born in 66. So, Mischief's dad was born in 23. That's amazing. I just, and Joel, you're not old. Trust me. You're not old. Uh, you're, seasoned. We're seasoned when we start at these ages. Oh, oh my God. Mischief manages cats Larry too. I just think it's hilarious that Hef's dad is Larry. That's amazing. Well, guys, I'm going to go. We've hit an hour and 8. So I'm going to go now. I've got tomorrow's already, and it's about Scientology. I do go to the oncologist, which I'm a little scared of. So Mark goes too. So we're going to do that. And then I will let you know everything they say. And I'll be back. We're going to be live at 5 Central Standard Time tomorrow too. So if something happens and I'm running late, then I'll get Mischief or somebody to let you know. Okay. So other than that, uh, yeah, I got this. I know. I know. Thank you. Yeah, y'all, any good vibes. And Mischief, please don't fall. Stop falling. Girl, anyway, I'm going to message you. I love you guys, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye bye.